Welcome to Rome's Marketing Podcast. Throughout the next couple of weeks, we will be focusing mostly on the future of marketing, trends, issues surrounding it. This is the first podcast episode, and I will be discussing an interesting topic today: the marketing market, what affects it, and why it is worth the huge $1.7 trillion worldwide figure. Grab a drink, a snack, or keep an ear out during your walk, run, or drive. This episode is going to be exciting. The marketing market within business, and where is it going? It only seems to be heading up. I mean, a marketing industry or an industry within business that has such easy access now. Somebody can go onto their mobile phone, just like that. A brand or service has been advertised to them so easily. And it's such easy access for a brand. Not necessarily a bad thing, but it's an environment where they now, as a consumer or a customer, now wants to make a purchase of a product or service, which otherwise they may not have wanted to purchase. And it's that easy with a mobile phone, a tablet. I mean, in the development stages of tech, during the 90s through to the early 2000s, and now in 2024, transitioning into 2025, how easy it is for a brand to market directly to you as an individual. Not necessarily a bad thing, but definitely the direction of the future of marketing for brands. And you're on Rome's podcast. I don't want you to feel as if you're tuning into the news. You're listening to a podcast which is all about marketing and the future of marketing. So don't feel as if this is a news read. But anyway, just going back into the marketing market and within business, where is it going? Why are businesses investing so much money into marketing? The more they invest into marketing, the more revenue they generate at the end of the year. Why? Because people are seeing their products, people are seeing their services. So much easier now. Somebody can go into their pocket, find their mobile phone, and if a brand wants to personally advertise towards them, it's so much easier now, which means that it becomes very easy to market a product to somebody, to a group of people, to a demographic across the country or even across the globe. It's so much easier to do, which means marketing now is an industry where, as it was before, companies would invest huge amounts of money, but definitely not anywhere near this $1.7 trillion worldwide figure. Let's break that down a little bit here, and we're looking to global public relations market size. Statista value it at $107 billion. Again, that in itself is an absolutely huge figure. So just the PR. And we do look at some companies who manage PR, and the top ones all seem to be from the United States. You've got ICF Next, Bospar, INK Communications Corporation, Burke Communications. Most of these, as we look into them, actually it's not in order. If you see if we can make this in order here. No, it's still from the United States. So as we look at the top five agencies, PR agencies, all of them from the United States. The closest PR agency that we have in the United Kingdom is actually 8th. So still one within the top 10, which is Brunswick. So the top 5 being Edelman, Weber Shandwick, BCW, Fleshman Hilliard, Real Chemistry. So these are the top 5 marketing agencies, and the amount of investment that they get from PR, just being able to communicate with external stakeholders and their ability to communicate with external stakeholders. That's why people are investing so much into them. You go onto a social media platform, Instagram, TikTok, you can very easily target a demographic. Of course, we have some scandals where information gathered and these sorts of things happen, and it does involve marketing. It involves marketing a huge amount. But let's quickly go back to the actual figures and this $1.7 trillion worldwide figure industry and how maybe in the next 5 years, 10 years, this figure can potentially even push past $2 trillion. An absolutely huge market. I've got a really interesting one for you a bit later on in this podcast episode, where I go into some of its competing industries and just how it fares up in the overall value of industries. So we do look at the automotive, and if the automotive even stacks up to the marketing industry, the financial industry, which is an absolute giant as well. So we also have the global influencer marketing size at $16.4 billion, also according to statistics of 2024. And our last market sector value here is the global marketing spending of just under $900 trillion, which is $897.7 billion dollars. Again, an absolutely huge figure. And just referring back to why is it that companies are spending so much on marketing? Because it's affecting their overall revenue so much. They're able to sell so many more products, so many more services by investing in marketing. It's something where they can't afford not to invest into it. Similar to how now we have so much more access to if there's a scandal and a products company is using a unfriendly product or animal testing, and how easily, if there is a scandal, again, marketing does play a role within this as well. If there is a scandal, how quickly the information can spread and how quickly people can access it from their phones and boycott a company if they don't invest intelligently. Just here I have a paper titled The Future of Marketing. Mr. Roland T. Rust actually wrote this paper, and it can be found in the International Journal of Research and Marketing. And he makes note of technological trends that have caused a boom in inequality of wealth with luxury marketing to bottom of pyramid. When I got to this section in his research article, I decided quite quickly it would be important to mention it in my podcast today. And of course, it is important to mention it in my podcast, because what does he mean by luxury marketing to bottom of pyramid? Luxury marketing to bottom of pyramid, the statement in itself creates huge controversies. And if you were to consider political and social elements, I'm sure many people would have strong opinions on the phrase. The social instability and slower economic growth rate, Singano is actually incorporated within this marketing research journal, and he actually puts it down to inequality of wealth as well. So the luxury marketing to bottom of pyramid and slower economic growth rate, he puts it down to inequality of wealth. And as we go into this, it is a very interesting topic. The Swatch Group rebranding white straps in early January. It almost requires a new sand dune, if you will. And not today, not in this podcast. I won't go into it in huge detail. But the main question I wanted to ask, it is a very interesting topic, actually, what Mr. Roland T. Rust discusses in his paper. And the question I wanted to ask today is, has luxury marketing to bottom of pyramid, which Mr. Rust mentions, adopted by brands, played a significant and influencing role in the continued growth of the marketing industry's overall value? Again, that's $1.7 trillion global value. I mean, I'm not just throwing this figure out there. The researchers who have come up with this figure are actually PricewaterhouseCoopers and I think it's Redmond, who've actually come up with this figure. So has it had an influence on the growing market, specifically relating to Mr. Roland T. Rust's comments on luxury marketing? Certainly, digital marketing growing some 12.76% last year in the United Kingdom suggests that it has. I mean, for digital marketing, a still growing market, to have grown 12.76% between 2023 and 2024 suggests that there is no slowing in the digital marketing or in the marketing industry, and specifically in the digital marketing industry. Of course, we did have another boom if you will, with the digital artwork. And this digital marketing, it seems as if it's only going from strength to strength. In the next couple of episodes, I will actually be going into potentially why digital marketing is going from strength to strength, and how easy it's become with tech developers and software developers creating such an environment for the digital marketing industry to continue to grow, to personalize, and is something where, as a marketer, or potentially a future marketer myself, that I would like to keep tracking, because it's a very interesting topic, and it only contributes to this overall global value, this huge $1.7 trillion figure. I mean, if you're unsure about this, we've been talking about it for a little while, not just the huge figure, but luxury marketing. Does this mean the fact I can access the advertisement from my phone or tablet device, or is it the quality of advertisement everybody now has access to? So luxury marketing to bottom of pyramid, avoiding the controversies as to what's actually been said, and just focusing more so on the actual luxury marketing here. Luxury marketing is actually the products and services we see and hear about on a daily basis. Somebody who cannot afford a Ferrari does not want to see a Ferrari advertisement every day, and can actually do more harm than good. And this is where Singano puts it down to inequality of wealth. It can do more harm than good. How could seeing a Ferrari advertisement do more harm than good? It's an important question. And how does this affect the future of marketing, when we can go to our phones, we can go to the latest Lamborghini, latest sports car, Aston Martin, McLaren advertisement, and scroll through an Instagram page or a TikTok page, and it's there. I mean, of course it's motivation. It can be seen as motivation, but it can also demotivate people. And if you're in a work environment where your staff are demotivated, and as a manager, an HR manager, or even a marketing manager, a communications marketing manager, you are going to want to consider these sorts of things as to how to keep your staff motivated. And if they're seeing advertisements, or if it is an agency that is producing advertisements, they need to consider how luxury marketing to bottom of a pyramid affects people in different ways. Because if you're demotivating somebody, then the agency will eventually lose out, because people aren't liking the advertisements maybe as they should. So the whole concept behind luxury marketing to bottom of pyramid, and what's being marketed to somebody, if somebody's ability to make a payment is low to mid, then they don't necessarily want to see an advertisement of high-end products, because they can't afford a high-end product. It does become quite an interesting scenario, actually. So whereas somebody who can afford a luxury sports vehicle, they're more likely to want to see luxury sports vehicle advertisements. But that doesn't mean that somebody who likes a sports car, I mean, I like a Lamborghini, never driven one, had an opportunity to drive one once. Ferrari, I managed to get into a Ferrari for an assignment actually, and took some really cool photographs in a Ferrari. But can I afford a Ferrari? I cannot. Would it affect me seeing a Ferrari advertisement? Sometimes I go out of my way to, again, a marketing student, so looking for advertisements is definitely an interesting one. I go out of my way to find a luxury sports vehicle to do. For example, I've done a review on a Lamborghini before. The overall effect of luxury marketing to bottom of pyramid is definitely something where agencies themselves have to take into consideration. And the effect on the future of marketing, with access to social media platforms, access to websites and these sorts of things, what impact does it actually have? What is the core impact of what Mr. Roland T. Rust terms as luxury marketing to bottom of pyramid? Now let's very quickly move on to another way how luxury marketing has actually caused harm. But to who? I mean, if everybody has access to any advertisement with good quality and ample timing, surely everybody wins. the agency will begin to suffer, as I've just mentioned. Why? Luxury marketing to bottom of pyramid inspires, it creates opportunities for people that otherwise would not get access to learn new and discover new things, which is not a bad thing. People learning and discovering new things, again, it should be used as a motivator. But that's the case of doing research and market research, and we're actually looking at also statistical driven. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be too exploratory, but conducting market research where we're finding out, are you demotivated by seeing expensive products, for example? So it moves a bit more away from qualitative research, and we're looking more at quantitative research, just finding the core statistics as to yes or no answers. And this way you can get a bit of an idea. I mean, it may even be worth sitting down with a focus group and conducting some more in-depth market research on this topic and just how it may affect the future of marketing. But with the people are saying that it doesn't affect them at all and they're not bothered about seeing luxury items, then marketing from now and in the future, luxury marketing to bottom pyramid, then it's something where obviously that can continue. I mean, creating opportunities for people that otherwise would get no access to learn new and discover new things. I mean, that's what marketing is all about within reason. How else does a brand appeal to a new demographic or appeal to a whole new audience if they're not marketing to people who haven't seen their products before? Anybody who is self-employed, entrepreneurs or simple creatives can market in the same way. So they've now seen an advertisement, they've now seen a product that they wouldn't have seen, and this is potentially one of the downsides to it. The research paper actually goes into some statistics of percentages within a country in Europe and percentages of wealth gap, and how this percentage of people can afford an item, this percentage of people can't. But if we look into self-employed entrepreneurs or just creative people, they can now market themselves in the same way. A luxury product or a luxury brand is likely to market themselves and their advertisement in a different way. If you check out one of the latest Lamborghini adverts, it doesn't quite look the same as of a lower brand vehicle. Not to say that the advertisement isn't, a lower brand vehicle doesn't have a good advertisement. Some of them are really fun, they're entertaining and they're interesting to see. But they're comparing the Lamborghini Bull, a live animal bull, with an electric vehicle, their first electric vehicle. And I mean, that's something that they're not actually able to do with a lower brand. Does that necessarily affect if somebody wants to see the advertisement or not? I mean, people who can't afford, the amount of millions of people that watch Lamborghini adverts and can't afford a Lamborghini, it's all about the brand and keep maintaining their presence. And that's for now, and that's for the future. So advertising to bottom of market, at the time bottom of market, or trying to motivate somebody to maybe want to purchase a Lamborghini. I mean, maybe it's titled Dangling the Carrot, but some people need motivation to wake up in the morning, and that's not necessarily a bad thing if it can be used as a motivator rather than a demotivator. I mean, this is a future marketing podcast. It's not a workout podcast, but it's definitely something which is interesting in terms of incentives. So anybody who's self-employed, entrepreneurs, or people that are just creative can now market in the same way than if they were to not see an advertisement. So we're talking about bottom of pyramid people who are self-employed, entrepreneurs, or just general people who have access to computer systems, editing software, the same as a high-end marketing agency has access to software, maybe not quite as expensive, but still good quality software. And they can now reproduce something similar, which they otherwise would not be able to do. If a brand can now do the marketing themselves, why would they, where they otherwise thought they needed an agency, the agency will no longer have any business. And for the future of marketing, it will continue to grow. So the brand themselves now move away from an agency and go more to an internal department, because they know that they can do it all themselves. There's access to technology, and this is again why the actual marketing industry itself has been able to grow as much as it has been because of access. And almost anybody can market and create marketing campaigns which are good quality marketing campaigns now. And these good quality marketing campaigns definitely make a difference in the industry, the overall industry. So it will continue to grow. But for the future of agencies, it could mean no more. I mean, literally, it could mean no more for no more for the agency, just because of how the future of marketing is progressing, just because of how the investment in the industry has meant that people have access, and software developers are saying, oh, hang on a second, the marketing industry is making so much money. Why don't we make more marketing, more access to marketing tools? And once more tools are created, the actual access to making of advertisements, making of promotional campaigns becomes a little easier. So what do the agencies do? I will delve into AI very slightly, but I mean artificial intelligence and creating of images and promotional campaigns. I've gone online myself, and I've even seen the way how I could automate this whole process right now. And that means for an agency, it can potentially put them in a very tricky position, an actual marketing agency. Some agencies have contracts that are in the tens of hundreds of £1 million or dollars a year. And when you have a contract which is in the tens of hundreds of millions of pounds or dollars or euros or whatever currency per year, and a software developer now comes and develops some software which automatically generates a social media chat post based on an algorithm, the industry doesn't suffer. So the $1.7 trillion industry, marketing industry, doesn't suffer. That only continues to grow. But the agency themselves within the marketing industry does begin to suffer. They either adopt the new technology, which means that people fear their own jobs, people working within the marketing agency fear their own jobs, or they continue with the same approach and don't adapt to the technology and just hope that it doesn't affect them, which is never the best course of action, to just hope it doesn't affect them. Still, something to consider as the future of marketing develops. What is being affected? What is the environmental impact on you as a person? What is the social impact on you as a person or an individual? Definitely something to think about. What's the environmental impact on you as a person with the development of the future of marketing, and how over the past 10, 15, 20 years, luxury marketing to bottom of a pyramid has actually had an impact on environment as you as a person. Have you seen advertisements that maybe you wouldn't have seen, or maybe you wouldn't have even known about? Or have you had a social impact on you as a person, your general discussions, your shopping trends, and your habits and behaviors? Maybe you haven't even noticed luxury marketing because you've just turned on your phone, gone to an advertisement and watched a YouTube video and it just advertises to you, and there's just an advertisement there. You don't pay attention. L'Oreal introducing a new product in early January. It's always good to consider these impacts on you as a person. So luxury marketing has been working, and the man with a £200 phone versus the man with a £2,000 phone both get to see the opening advertisement for their favorite sports team for the most premium media showcased next season, easily and in excellent quality. Yet both may not watch the games on that premium television channel, but both of them see the advertisement. Is it demotivating? Is it motivating? Both of them like sports. Both of them have their favorite sports teams, but both of them do not watch them on the same premium sports website or television channel. Certainly an interesting concept, and the way we have discussed it today in this detail explains how important of a role it plays in the marketing market's overall success. How does the marketing market now continue to market to bottom of pyramid, luxury marketing to bottom of pyramid, and continue to grow? Let's take a slightly closer look at this absolutely bogus $1.7 trillion worldwide industry value. The entire sector, according to Redburn, is the company name, and PricewaterhouseCoopers put the marketing industry's value at $1.7 trillion worldwide. An absolutely huge figure. But still, this absolutely huge figure almost trembles in fear at the money management and finance figure, valued at a huge figure. I won't tell you now. Let me tell you this figure last. You'll be absolutely amazed at the value of the money management and finance industry. But if we look at retail, $27 trillion. Distribution, $8 to $9 trillion. Construction, $8.1 trillion. Oil and gas, $4.3 trillion. I mean, these are absolutely huge figures. And for the marketing industry at $1.7 trillion to try to compete with these other industries, construction, distribution, retail, oil and gas, it doesn't seem as if it's going to be any time in the next 5 years or so. But what it can compete with, and what the marketing industry definitely can consider reaching to compete with, is the food service industry, valued at $2.5 trillion. The media industry, which costs us over a huge amount, media and marketing, valued at $2.3 trillion. The insurance industry, valued at $1.8 trillion. So I mean, these are the sorts of figures that the marketing industry can definitely look towards competing with. I mean, the food service, the media industry, and insurance, they all need marketing. They all need the marketing industry. And in order for them to grow, they need to market themselves, and they need to continue to invest in marketing, as with any industry. And that only means that if the marketing industry itself is able to continue to grow, and we consider the digital marketing industry specifically 12.34%, 12.76% even, over the space of 1 year, just focusing on the digital marketing industry. I mean, what sort of opportunities are there for the marketing industry over the next 1 decade, 2 decades, 3 decades? Will it continue to compete with these sorts of industries, food service, media and insurance? Or will it potentially even poke its head up to oil and gas and say, actually, hang on a minute, as an industry, we're very important, and people want to see products and services. People want to see products and services in certain ways. They've clearly shown with the way that they approach advertisements and the way that they respond, how people respond to advertisements, promotional campaigns, and the reactions to actual brands, that they want to continue investing in the marketing industry. They want to continue investing in brands and products that market themselves well. They market themselves very well. They have excellent marketing strategies, and they make the customer feel as if they're valued. Last topic for this podcast. It has actually overrun slightly. Again, we're looking at figures in this instance, and we're looking at marketing salaries and current marketing job role salaries. Marketing as a job and career creates exciting opportunities to meet different people, of course, but the content you can produce is incredible. Creativity, innovation, visually and audibly. These are all experiences, both positive and sometimes negative, that everyday people can grow, learn, live, laugh, cry, discuss, celebrate for decades, sometimes even their entire lives. That is why the average marketing manager will earn upwards of £36,000 as a base salary. In a large organization, we are looking in excess of £55,000 to £60,000 per year. That's according to Pay Scale as of 2024. Not bad for getting a brand advertisement in the right positioning, eh? When we move into the more senior roles, Glassdoor makes statement of an average base pay of £82,000 a year. And in some cases, again, based on the marketing to the brand, based on the value of marketing to the brand, upwards of £100,000 a year. Or in some cases, £200,000 a year. a worthwhile pay package in such a rewarding industry. Google, for instance, even have open jobs valued closer to the £200,000 a year mark, and Samsung even more, with a maximum of £230,000 a year. Let's look at some other well-known brands. Unilever, 102. These are all directors' roles. So we've moved away from marketing managers and marketing management role, which is a basic of 36,000 and some in excess of 55 to 60,000. And as you move towards the marketing director roles, which I'm going through now, at Unilever, for example, 102 to 144,000 a year. GSK, 90 to 128,000 pounds a year. American Express, 85 to 120,000 pounds a year. Sage, 85 to 150,000 pounds a year. Microsoft again, 114 to 165,000 pounds a year. Self-employed.com, 46 to 105,000 pounds a year. Oracle, 77 to 107,000 pounds a year. And lastly, Mighty, 78 to 107,000 pounds a year. And these are marketing directors' roles. And then if we were to consider, why is the market valued at so much? Because the directors are being paid very healthy salaries to ensure that brands are marketing their products, marketing their services to a very high standard. Advertisement is absolutely crucial in the early stages or the developing stages or well-established stages of any brand. Any brand that sells a product or service that markets themselves well to a high standard will always come out on top. If it's a good quality product, if it's a well-delivered service, it is impossible for the product or service to not succeed. If people want the product without it being marketed to them, with it being marketed to them, well, it will only mean that they want to spend more. Word of mouth, which contributes to about 13% or so of sales, is again another way of marketing. And if an advertisement is good and people want to talk about it, word of mouth sales only multiplies. So why is it that Samsung are prepared to spend so much on a marketing director? They've been trailing Apple for so many years now. When I say trailing, it's never something that you should consider Samsung, for example, as a slouch company. They are competing with a super brand who has the most distinct marketing strategy, which boomed during the late 90s or early 2000s, and has only continued in the same trend to this very day. So you have a brand like Samsung, which is competing with Apple, and how easily they are able to spend up to £230,000 a year. So that's why they're competing with someone, that's why they're able to compete with Apple. Otherwise, there'd be nobody near, maybe Google, which would be absolutely nowhere near. So the fact that Samsung is prepared to spend nearly £250,000 a year on a marketing director just goes to show how important marketing is to them and how they've been able to compete with Apple. It's really important to consider these sorts of things. And the direction of the future of marketing and how brands in now and in the future, like Samsung, compete with major brand leaders or industry leaders, tech leaders, and just how much they're prepared to pay. I mean, 20 years from now, a marketing director may be on £300,000 a year, or maybe more. And it just shows how important of a role it is in major brands, especially brands like Samsung, where if their marketing is correct and they market themselves well, they continue to compete with brands like Apple. I mean, there is no other competition for Samsung. Google is maybe close, but there is no other competition. And if Apple is the market leaders and Samsung is trailing, but they're in second place, they are a market leader themselves in their own right. And in order for them to compete and maintain their own market share, they are prepared to pay for the best. And this is why the marketing market and the marketing market reflects marketing salaries and job salaries for marketing directors. Of course it does. Of course, you see an industry valued at $1.7 trillion, and you go towards the managers and the senior managers and the marketing directors, you're going to expect them to be on minimum £100,000 a year. These huge pay packets only extend solidification of the role of marketer within professional services. And maybe this may even be why AI is so eager to get work finished so quickly with chatbots and image generators. I mean, if the marketing directors are good, the AI works faster. Of course, that's not true, but it depends on how good the software is. But that's all for today. And I certainly hope you enjoyed my first podcast. We've discussed the value of many different aspects of marketing. We've looked at the overall sector. We've looked at some sectors within the marketing sector. The $1.7 trillion industry value. How that may affect the future of marketing and the luxury marketing methods to bottom of a pyramid. Looked into officially published International Journal of Research and Marketing by Mr. Roland T. Rust. And I will actually be referring to him in the next podcast or two as well. Very interesting paper. The future of marketing with his highly controversial discussions surrounding luxury marketing, the bottom of the pyramid. And lastly, annual wage expectations of a marketer in a managerial role and a more senior director's role. Enjoy yourself, drive safely, and look out for my next podcast in which I have something very interesting for you. Thanks for listening to Rome's Marketing Podcast. Stay well. Quite cool, where I've had to take people and blend them into the background. There's a person somewhere over here, and there's also a load of people on the right hand side here. So I'm just going to edit it a little bit more now. It's possible. It's tricky. Definitely tricky. Episode 2. Episode 2 is actually, the whole purpose of this is that it was designed specifically by AI. Which leads me very nicely into podcast episode, I think it's 3, no, podcast episode 4,